Welcome everybody to episode 10. We've reached double digits, everyone. 4NZGamers, my name's Phil Brooks. On my left I've got James Jennings.
Yep.
I've got Lance Lochner.
Yep.
On my right, Dave Watson and James Brooks. So, yes, the excitement of E3 is over and we're back to our regular sort of stuff. We're going to do some topics and whatnot.
Well, I wanted to talk about just general bugs in games and games being released unfinished or not ready for consumption.
Yep.
Consumption. So obviously in the last couple of weeks we've had the Arkham Knight come out, and you know, if you've been following that in the news and that, you'll know the issues around it with the PC. Within I think the first 24 hours of it being released, there was something like 66% of reviews on Steam were negative for it.
Yeah.
And like on the console it's fine, but on the PC they're having all sorts of issues with the frame rate dropping randomly. Basically the performance of it, the graphics of it are not up to scratch either. They can't, they're not getting the same fidelity that the consoles are getting. They've done comparisons online showing this. And obviously people are really, really upset with this because, you know, they waited for this game and all that and they bought it and it doesn't work. And, you know, thank God that Steam decided in the last month or so to have the refund policy.
Yeah, it was like a few days before it came out.
Yeah, it's almost like they anticipated this game coming out and pissing people off because suddenly people wanted refunds. And they were quite justified in doing that. Because the game was, you know, nigh unplayable for a big chunk of people. Like not everyone. Like there's a lot of people that are playing it fine. They haven't got any issues. But again, this is the problem with PC is that you've got so many different setups.
That's right.
You know, it's going to affect different people differently. Of course, like not everyone's experiencing the same issues. So they've since pulled Arkham Knight off Steam, and it has as of now, 2 weeks later, it's still not back up. So they're releasing patches. They're trying to get it playable again for the people that are still playing it. They've still got it. They bought it and kept it. But when it's going to actually be playable again, when they're actually going to have it ready for PC to play it on, no one knows. They said it's going to take longer than they anticipated.
Yeah. Wow.
Some of the stuff I've seen about Arkham Knight is the fact that for the PCs, usually you've got a lot of interfaces with your graphics card. It's very limited. So people with high spec GPUs or graphics cards can't really change the settings compared to what they've got. And so you've got people with high-end graphics cards that should be doing amazing things, really struggling to play this game at high frames per second.
Yeah.
And you think if you're spending $1,300 on the latest Radeon graphics card that it should be pumping out high FPS. Your PlayStation's doing better, and people, PC gamers just, as James said, are just bloody throwing it out the window.
Yeah, but the Radeon ones are affected the worst, apparently, because...
Sorry, the what?
The people that use Radeon
AMD
graphics cards.
Oh, right.
Because you've got NVIDIA graphics cards, you've got AMD graphics cards, kind of like the Ford and the Holden of the PC graphics card race. And NVIDIA actually have invested a lot of money into GameWorks and these other technologies. They've got the HERE technology in The Witcher 3, for example. That's all from NVIDIA. So it actually works better with an NVIDIA graphics card. If you've got an AMD card and you go to play The Witcher, the HERE effects don't work as well. Okay, they do work, but they slow the frame rate down more than they would on an NVIDIA card.
All right.
Everyone's kind of saying this is a bit of a conspiracy with NVIDIA to actually force consumers to actually buy their graphics card because they've got all this technology. It's in the Batman as well. So they've got GameWorks with... Again, it works better with NVIDIA. People with AMD cards are experiencing way more problems than people with NVIDIA. But that's not to say that people with NVIDIA cards aren't experiencing problems.
Yeah, they've all got their secular technologies in those chips. Like they all do different things. But I mean, I know what you're saying. I guess for them to release that game in that state for PC being a big market is not a good move. I mean, there's lots of reviews out there where they're just saying this is bullshit. And
Makes you wonder if they play tested it at all, considering you make games on PCs. Like, how did you not know this was going to be an issue?
It seems like it's becoming a bigger thing because there's online people have been guys who have been testing it have been apparently going online and saying, hey, these were problems about a year ago. and they're still the same. They knew that these problems were going on, and they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's the most annoying thing, that they kind of knew about it, but also they're almost saying that it wasn't ready by pulling their stuff off of the shelves and stuff. It's come off online if you download it. It's also been taken off store shelves, the PC version of Batman Arkham Knight. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's a dick move. Somebody's going to get fired.
Yeah. Well, it's Warner Brothers, isn't it? It's not. I wouldn't blame the developers per se. It's the people that actually
push the game
out. Yeah, ahead of schedule.
Got rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but this.
No, I was just going to say they're probably going to obviously have to have patches and stuff because you can't. I mean, it costs too much money to get everything back or release it. I know I have seen recently from AMD these patches in terms of the firmware, upgrading your actual graphics card to be able to handle whatever the game is doing to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be a solution to actually fix the problems in the game.
Half the time it is just driver updates. Like Nvidia is usually really on top of it. They'll like before when Battlefield released, there was problems with SLI, and I think within 2 days there was a driver update and it all worked perfectly. Half the time that's all the fix it needs, but this looks like it might be a bit worse.
Yeah, just a tad.
Just a tad, yeah.
You don't do things that way. You don't make the bloody graphics card update itself to play a game. Usually it's the game that comes in a complete version to play with.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. You were saying a complete version. So that we're having a lot of games coming out lately that are unfinished. Assassin's Creed, perfect example. All that kind of stuff. What do you guys think about developers either bringing these things out too early, that they needed the time to have them complete? Would you rather it being complete or have it out early, or even having the game delayed so they can bring it out later? Like, for example, if they had known about Batman Arkham Knight, why not release it on consoles first, PC later? They do that with GTA.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been bothered by that at all.
Yeah?
I think delay it. I mean, I call this the ET syndrome from Atari because you don't rush a good thing, right? Take time, make it work. Otherwise, it's going to be a flop and you're going to have problems. So I'm like, wait to make it good.
Yeah, and it's damaging because Warner Brothers is not really going to recover from this, because it's in the same way that Ubisoft got all that flack for the Unity release. You know, like, it's really hard to recover from that sort of bad press.
Yes and no. I think it's very lucky in terms of the consoles version being very mainstream. If the console version screwed up, then I think it would have been an even bigger problem. I'm not saying that PC players can wait. Like, it should, if they're going to release something, it should be complete. And like you guys are saying, I wouldn't mind waiting a tad bit longer if they decided to complete it.
Yeah.
But if they weren't happy with the PC version, why not just say it? We'll release it on console.
Yeah.
We'll make this version, the PC version better, and add in its DLC for free or something like that. Just for the wait.
Well, obviously Rockstar had that in mind with Grand Theft Auto 5, because the PC version wasn't released until 3-4 months. No, actually longer.
It was ages.
No, it was 2 years after.
2 years?
2 years? No, 1 year. It couldn't have been 2 years.
It was a long time.
It was a long time.
It felt like 2 years.
Yeah,
was a long time.
but obviously they realised with the complexity of that game, they had to take their time and then release it. And even then, when it was released on PC, it still had problems.
And they were no doubt playtesting it to make sure that it worked as well.
Mine worked fine on release day. Mine was good.
Did it?
Yeah, and I even pre-ordered it and got like $1.5 million of free money. And
Yeah.
So why do you think they do this then? Because what would be the driving factor behind wanting to release something that you know is kind of broken?
I think it's trying to keep up with the annualized franchises that everyone else is putting out.
It's just the pressure, yeah, of keeping to a deadline.
It's pressure. Everyone else is doing it, so we should try and do it. But
it's all money. The longer it's not coming out,
Yeah.
you're losing money basically. Because you can see it with some games that have come out and they've just come out too late. Because whatever that fad is or whatever the game was, it's come out and that whole interest in it has been and gone.
Yeah, well, I know with the Master Chief Collection, they needed to hit the anniversary day, and that was their driving point, and that was really unfortunate, because that's still kind of broken even now.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably a point is that if with the market that's so saturated with games, if you're not releasing it in the hype period, you're not going to be making money, right? Because another game's just going to come along after and just...
There are, yeah. And there's certain times of the year where people spend more money, and I know they target those times, you know what I mean? Like Christmas and summer, just certain periods. And if they don't... it's a money thing. It always comes back to the money thing.
Do you think they'll delay it for the money thing then?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Like I'm just reading here for GTA for PC, release date had been delayed for the third time, pushing the launch day back to April 14th. The game was initially scheduled for shipment in fall 2014, and then late January, and then on March.
Yeah.
It changed heaps.
Yeah, that's right. And even The Witcher 3 was pushed back a lot. It was supposed to come out in February of this year.
Yeah, but they did say that we want to complete this game.
Oh,
so...
yeah. And that's cool. And,
yeah.
you know, and I mean, you know, with a game like that, and going back to the first question you asked, you know, are we happy with certain games doing that? I think certain types of games can get away with it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things that are quite complex, like a role-playing game, where certain quests can be broken, or, you know, you can literally fuck up your progression within that game.
Yeah, you can't get through it.
Yeah, you're stuffed. So, because I was actually playing up until a certain point, but I knew something was broken in Novigrad. I can't remember what it was, but I was waiting.
Witcher 3, sorry.
Yeah, and I was waiting for the next patch, and so I kept dicking around in this other area, finishing off quests and stuff, not going to Novigrad because I was waiting for the next patch. Because I knew there was an issue in going to that city. And that was fine, I guess, because the patches came out quite quickly, and I'm happy about that, because they've been very good with it, actually. Those patches have come out pretty regularly, every couple of days, every week. But other people are not as efficient at getting that stuff out, because maybe they don't have as big a development team or whatever, or, you know, resources to put into patching. Because let's face it, once the game's released, they usually move on to something else, don't they? But in this case, I guess a lot of people don't now. They must sit back and go, okay, let's just wait for the problems to roll in.
It's almost like they plan for it. Like they know that, okay, let's get it out now so we've got our release date sorted and we get this sort of... You know, not quite up, not a sort of subpar product almost.
Well, it's the ultimate quality testing, isn't it? Give it to 2 million people and see if they find a problem.
Yeah,
with it.
good point. I going back on I do like how we used to get a complete game and that was it, and they couldn't do anything to it. I do kind of like the idea of like, oh, that was crap. Let's patch it, and they can do that. So they can, you know, tweak it every now and again. They can do that, but after shipping the game,
they're falling
exactly.
Back on that.
That's what I find annoying, is that, oh no, we'll fix it later, kind of idea, and that kind of pisses me off. Yeah.
Well, I've deliberately delayed buying some games because I know there's going to be problems with it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like what games?
Like when New Vegas came out, like. Because it was Obsidian, I knew Obsidian are great. You know, they make great role-playing games, Knights of the Republic 2 and South Park and that. But they're notorious for their games being buggy as hell.
Yeah.
So straight away I was like, well, I'm not buying that. I'll wait at least a month or two until they've gone through
Game
at
of the
least
Year
10
edition.
or 12 patches.
Yeah.
and the thing is pretty much good from the start. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to play it, get so far, find something's broken, I have to start again or whatever. Because even with all the patching, it doesn't always fix it. You can lose saves and things like that.
Yeah.
South Park's apparently still like that. It's got save files that just get corrupted, and that's it. It's like literally a game-breaking bug.
Yeah, and in a game like that where you're investing 40, 50, 100 hours, that's painful.
Yep. The worst is when you're going for every single achievement, and then typically the last achievement you go for is the one that's glitched and broken, and you can't get your last achievement or your last trophy.
I had that with GTA last week. I was playing through the main storyline trying to finish it, and there's still a problem with GTA where you'll be playing and your graphics driver will crash. Like the software that runs your card will just stop. The screen just goes black, and you're out to the desktop. You know, GTA is not working, sorry. And this was like, last mission of GTA and the story, and like driving out to the point to the guy in the boot and gone. I'm like driving down that dirt path, and then I have to go back and do all those kill things again, and I think I had to do it 3 times before I managed to finish it.
Man.
I was raging at that point.
I was doing a 30-minute battle against Penance on Final Fantasy X the other day, and I was about 25 minutes into it. I'm sure he was nearly dead. Cuts back to the main screen of the PlayStation dashboard. Your game has stopped working for some reason. Like, was this like report of a problem? Would you like to send a report to Sony? I'm like,
how about a big fuck you?
Yeah, can I send a finger? Where's that? Oh, God. That was gutting.
Shit.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, eh?
But it can work in your favour as well. I had one experience where I was playing the original Just Cause, and I was driving this ambulance, went flying off a cliff, the ambulance just stopped in midair, and everything sort of went, and it went like, pop, 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 pop. I kept getting every achievement in the game just popped. Ding, 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 ding. I'm just sitting there going, okay. I just sat back and let every achievement pop, all these stupid bullshit hard-ass achievements just going ding, ding, ding. I was like, sweet, and then I didn't need to play the game because I'd 100%ed it.
Wow!
That was right at the beginning.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I've never experienced it again. But yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Once you hit the magic spot of the game.
Yeah.
Tickle the G spot.
Just tickle the achievement
The
G
achievements
spot.
are yours. Take them.
Stop!
Yeah.
Stop hitting me!
Fuck.
Oh dear.
Nice.
Yeah, it is funny when some of those glitches can be beneficial as well, actually.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times you've played a game and you found some kind of secret, like infinite money or...
Or glitching yourself between that wall in
Yeah.
Oblivion where, that Cathar or whatever, that's first place you're supposed to go to, but if you level up heaps before you get there, all the enemies in that area are overpowered and you can't kill them. But you can glitch yourself into a wall so they can't get you, and you can just bow and arrow them for hours until you finally kill them.
Yeah, it kind of kills the immersion.
Exploit. Yeah, I reckon.
Like driving into certain fences in GTA and have your car shoot off into the sky and everything.
Get the achievements
Yeah.
for like doing 200-meter jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just glitch it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, some of them are amusing, I must admit. But yeah, I'd still rather have a game that's perfect.
Yeah.
But I guess I haven't got a problem unless even minor little things are fine, but it's these big ones. The big patches that come out.
The one
Because it
gigabyte
feels like such a
patches.
massive oversight. Like, how did you miss this?
Well, like I don't know. Do you guys know about Dark Souls when it came out on the PC? Like the issue that they had
Yeah.
was with the
don't know.
aspect ratio. It was
Tell us.
locked at a certain resolution.
It was locked at 720p, I think.
Yeah, and people were like, "What the hell? Like, why is it like this? Blah blah blah."
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
they were complaining, and they knew about it before it even came out, and they came out and said, because it was Bandai Namco or whoever it was, and they said, "Oh, we can't. There's nothing we can do about blah blah blah." Within half an hour of this game being released, some modder got online and put up a patch or a thing to basically unlock the resolution to the 1080p. And,
Wow.
Because apparently it was that easy.
And he said, and it was, and it was just like, well, if this guy can do it in half an hour, why couldn't you wankers figure out how to do it? When you were porting it over, because that's all it was. It was porting it from the console to the PC, and that is probably half the problems we're having. Actually,
You think most of these games are being
they're ported,
dedicated to console first, and then PC is an afterthought?
Yeah, they're optimized for the play. Because why is the PlayStation and that not having any problems with Batman?
Mm. Well, I was gonna. That's what I was looking at before. Like, what are the graphics cards in a PS4 and an Xbox One? Like, are they Nvidia or Radeon, or do they work on something else?
Yeah.
I don't think they're any of those
they're
brands.
AMD.
Yeah, good
Did
question.
you find anything?
No, I couldn't. It's sort of.
I thought they were developed in house. They're just
Yeah.
part of the whole console chip.
They
They're an
usually-
onboard.
No, they're
graphic.
different now. They've got a chip. They've got a laptop processor. Or something.
But
like
would that be why it doesn't really translate very well? Because it's quite actually different.
I
Well, it's gonna. It would have its own maximum capabilities in
Mm.
terms of what
And
the
that's-
console can drive. So when
Yeah.
you're programming the game, they have to make it specifically for those outputs
Mm.
because it always is stable, right? With PlayStation, and Xbox, you get a stable, consistent
yeah.
gaming experience.
Do you think it's a conspiracy theory? Sony and Microsoft sort of come in and go, just make it for ours, make ours perfect.
Well,
Well,
they had
have-
that with some
they have to.
games.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Xbox One's got like a 7790 and the PS4's got a 78. I was going to say 7850, but apparently it's got a 17.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah. What's Pitcan? Is that like another version of like? Is that like
it's,
Radeon as Pitcan is?
It's a chipset code name.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
So they got laptop GPUs. Sort of.
works on a console, so
So you guys are fine.
I'm happy. But that's true, right? It's
Okay.
absolutely fine on consoles.
Yeah.
No problem.
There's no
Yeah,
issues.
but then I can't think of any excuse for that, considering a game is that they're all made on PCs. So how can you
exactly
not make it work on a PC if you're making it on a PC?
They make the game on a PC
it should just
for the PlayStation.
It should just work on a PC by default. Then they make it work on a console.
Yeah.
But don't they get dev kits and stuff for Xbox One and PS4 so that they actually
I
work
suppose they
on...
do get dev kits.
Yeah, they optimize it for the console, and then the PC.
And where do you think the audience is? Do you think the audience is console?
Oh, clearly.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. But it's not to say there's still not a lot of people on the PC. You know.
No, that's what I would have thought. More people had PCs, you know.
I thought more people did have PCs. How many? What's the sales at the moment for PS4 and Xbox?
There's like 20 million PS4s out there and 10 million Xbox Ones
Okay,
out
it
there.
is higher.
Yeah.
Because I think the solid...
There's something like, 2 million people were playing The Witcher 3 off GOG?
No.
Or bought it through GOG?
Because there's like 75 million Steam accounts.
Yeah, but they're not all.
Well,
Not all of them will be active, but...
At its height, when it was PS3 and Xbox 360, there was about 80 million of each out there. 90 million of each. So that's like 180 million people on consoles around the world.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds
I
like
think
even.
because with consoles, and this is definitely why I do it, is that I don't want to keep building up my PC.
Yeah.
That's just my preference, and I know what I'm like. I know I want the best of the best kind of thing, so I end up spending a hell of a lot more. I do find the consoles a very easy, almost noob way of having just do this and everything will work on it.
Plug and play.
Until the next one comes out. Yeah, plug and play. It's easy for consumers. We don't have to do anything. I don't have to take out a graphics card to replace.
And you know that at the beginning of the life cycle and the end of the life cycle, whether it's 8 years later, whatever you buy is still going to bloody work. You know, it's just.
But there is that in that life cycle. There is that period, like either towards the end of that life cycle. That's when like PCs have already come up with new things, so they do, or maybe even halfway through its console cycle, PCs have developed. They've gone up in technology.
Yeah, they're way
new
better.
graphic cards come up. So around that 10-year mark is around the time where let's make a new console.
Yeah.
And you're ready for it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, come on,
exactly.
come on.
And I'm fine with that because it just seems like I don't have to go through all this other bullshit before we get another.
But it's always slightly disappointing as well because the developers are just getting used to developing for that console, and you're getting your Grand Theft Autos and your amazing games that look so good and really utilising the system.
You've kind of hit the nail on the head there as well, is that they're designing for the console, and what that does is it limits the capability or the scope of these games. You know, you could really open up the graphics and the worlds and everything if they weren't making it for console.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
yeah. At the end of the life cycle of a console, it's being really held back, isn't it?
It does. And what happens is you get a lot of innovation at the start, but then it slows down and it's being held back, wait.
But
Next
doesn't
console.
But doesn't it force them to be more creative in other
Exactly,
ways?
I was going to bring that up.
All right.
So, for example, with The Last of Us, they only have a limited amount of things to use, so they have to cut back here and get more creative on how they design their
definitely.
levels and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when you can come up with games like Last of Us, which on PS3, using PS3 devs and stuff, and that game looks amazing. And like I know what you mean about kind of holding them back, but it gets them more creative. So when the next cycle comes on, they learn from that, and then they've got more to play with. And same, so a lot of innovation at the beginning of the cycle, and then you get a few cool games midway, and then I think the end of the life cycle is when they get real creative.
Oh,
yeah,
I
totally.
think, which I think are good goals for game developers.
Definitely.
It does seem like PC have like almost unlimited kind of resources.
Yeah, and you'd be constantly... every month you'd be moving forward. There'd be some other innovation you'd need to now work for this new optimized PC thing, you know?
You'd
Still have to make it for the average PC user.
Oh, definitely.
Because you can go if you make things too high spec, not everyone's going to be able to play it. So, but yeah, if you got higher specs, then you can play it in a better.
You always get the option to go
So
up
if you're making for a PC platform which is average, you're going to have a better experience if your tech is higher in the computer.
Do you do that with your PCs? So like, do you tweak them out to like, for example, or do you just max setting it? Or hey, it runs better if I lower this. The graphics
to get the frame rate, yeah.
Is that what you guys do?
Usually,
I have no idea.
Yeah,
so.
usually crank everything to max.
You can overclock things.
And then look at your FPS meter, and then say you crank everything to max and it's sitting at 45, but I want 60, so I'll turn the
You're
anti-aliasing
quite happy to
down a little
lose
bit.
something.
Yeah.
I'll
Scale of shadows.
I'll go from 8 times MSAA to 4 times or 2 times, and then it will give
What's
me
MSA?
anti-aliasing,
The
which is
straightening of the
The jagged edges.
edges on things.
Oh right,
Smooths it out.
smoothing. Yeah.
And then I might get my 60 frames.
Yeah, and to be honest, in this part of probably being a PC fanboy, is that's half the fun, is tweaking it.
Yeah, I guess it
Because
would
you do,
be.
I'll dick around for hours before I even play a game just to get the settings.
I think
just
there
right.
is something cool about being able to build your
Yeah.
own PC, and then
Yeah.
I've made this and I've tweaked it, and look what I can do
Yeah.
with my PC.
And you've got that optimization,
Freedom.
that freedom to kind of play with it and even download stuff and get things that people have made to kind of tweak it a bit more and that kind of thing, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, because you can just go out and buy a new graphics card, R9 Fury, and you can get over 100 frames, per second. So for an average game that's made here, someone like me, with an average card or above average card's getting like 60, and then you go and buy a new graphics card, and you're having a different visual experience just by upgrading what's in your PC. Well, you can't do that with a console.
No.
On the same game, you can't.
Yeah. And it is nice to have that option to go like, oh, I'm going to go back and try this game out and see what it looks like now, and it's like, whoa, and it's just that kind of buzz.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't know. I agree with what you're saying, James. It is expensive and stuff, but I think people that get into PCs, it is a hobby as well to have that PC.
Yeah.
That's part of the thing as well. It's not just for the games; it's to have that PC that's like a car or whatever. You're always tutoring with it and adding things to it. So
Sure, you can spend just about as much on the PC as you would for a new car.
pretty much,
Yeah.
If you go top end.
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, and that's probably one of the reasons why PCs have problems with games is that you have to conform to a wider spec range of computers, so you have to somewhere slot it in the middle. It has to be available for these sort of graphics cards, and you need to run on a Windows 7, can't go too high because not everyone's got it, so you've got to be able to...
What about with Mac and
and all
PC
that.
though? Is there any problems there? Issues with designing, or does that sort of talk to each
they're
other?
going to totally change. Like,
Oh, it is.
There's far less games on Macs than there are on
They're going to
Windows.
specifically design it for that, redesign
Right.
it for that sometimes.
That's definitely not a good gaming platform.
No.
Yeah.
Or Max.
Mac Daddy.
Well, they're just not the
That's not really what they're for,
populous
but yeah,
choice.
they're more for office and
And all
editing and all that kind of
that sort of
stuff.
stuff.
being hipster.
Yeah. You'll see a Mac here very soon, and I get my hipster lifestyle.
Yeah.
Sure, you can just buy a PC and download the Mac OS on it. You don't
Yeah,
even have to buy a Mac.
or the other way around. Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, that's for a conversation after this. So, yes, very good conversation. Good to have some more PC sort of
Yeah, I reckon.
centric
Well, after
fuel
all that
conversation.
E3 bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's usually console driven, isn't it? What we
Yeah,
talk about. So
yeah.
it's nice to hear the PC side of things. So yeah, really good. All right, so we're going to come back with a few more topics for the rest of this week. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, tune back in tomorrow. 4NZGamers on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook.